What is up, and welcome back to Cryptographics. Thank you for checking out the video. Today, we're going to be talking about how the PulseChain ecosystem could completely redefine crypto in the coming years. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Redefining crypto. So let's start with this. In crypto, a major factor in how the potential future value of a coin is compared to another. So in crypto, a major factor in how the potential future value of a coin is compared to another is market cap. Hence, why we have coin market cap. You may have heard the term micro cap coins in the context of getting in early before a pump will happen. And if you haven't, what this is, micro cap coins are like gems that people are looking at and trying to find for potential massive gains because its market cap is low, it hasn't grown, and it's terminology that you hear from people who like to trade and try to find, or at least try to find these micro gems, if you will, before they pump. But let's continue. So market cap is calculated by multiplying the number of coins in circulation by the last transaction price, then giving you the total value of the supply. So the problem is, though, market cap itself is completely untrue and it's a false metric. I know it's a crazy statement, but stick with me, because we're gonna go through it here. So how can we verify? Let's look at the very top here where it shows the Bitcoin price and the market cap with the circulating supply. If you were to go right now and you actually take the circulating supply and multiply it by the price, you will get the market cap of $794,529,492,226. Whew. So the problem here is, if Bitcoin's market cap is 794, that's billion, not trillion. I'm sorry, 794.5 billion currently. Does this mean if everyone sells their Bitcoin, they get to cash out at $41,914.13 per Bitcoin? No. Here's why. Every time someone sells, or every time you sell any coin, you're selling it into a pool. You are dropping the coins into a pool and retrieving something else out. Now, when that happens, that pool has a ratio. And as you dump coins in the pool, it affects both sides. The price goes up on the side that the coins went into, and the price goes down, on the side that the coins were dropped into, and the price goes up on the opposing side. Now, this can go up a small amount. It can go up or down a penny, but in the case of selling, it will go down no matter what. So as soon as one person sells, that market cap shrinks. And each time the price of Bitcoin gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller, and so does the market cap. So it's impossible to extract the amount of value equivalent to the market cap, because every seller will be selling at a lower price. Let's just really think about that for a second, right? If you sell some Bitcoin or Hex or anything, after you sell it, especially if it's a significant amount or even if it's a smaller amount, it will hurt the price a little bit. You may not see it in a full penny or a full dollar or tens of dollars, but you could see it in percentage points. You could see it in fractions of a penny. But it still goes down. The next person in line is still getting less value for the amount of coins that they trade. But let's talk about some possible ways that maybe, in theory, improbable theory, that this could be debunked. So these are the two ways that I've come up with. The possible way to extract the value of that magnitude could possibly, in theory, be extracted, one of the only possible ways it could be extracted is if a small amount of people, maybe even one person, owned all the Bitcoin and sold it all at once. I mean, you've got millions of wallets holding Bitcoin at this point, and the likelihood of that happening in my mind is like absolute zero. So it's completely improbable. It doesn't make sense. Let's look at one more though. Another one you can maybe argue is if someone bought the exact amount that someone previously sold for every BTC sold, every Bitcoin or every Satoshi sold, the amount could possibly be extracted. But for one, it's just, I don't even want to go there, honestly. It's just ridiculous. Like, it's not going to happen. It couldn't happen. You could argue that you could have that same thing for not just Bitcoin, but for any coin whatsoever or token. It doesn't matter. The market cap itself can never be justified in how much actual value can be extracted. It's a useless metric. It really is. And you're going to see why in a second here as well when we go a little further. So let's go to the second point, and I'll show you how the crypto world, just how useless market cap really is. So let's check this out. So the world doubted for a long time that it was possible for any cryptocurrency to reach a $1 trillion market cap, which Bitcoin managed to find at one point, of course. And now it's believed that nothing will overtake Bitcoin as the overall leader in market capitalization. The problem here is PULSECHAIN. So check this out. PULSECHAIN supply is going to be around the 130 trillion mark, plus or minus a bit, just depending on how the AMM fixer bots or how much supply is minted to go into the liquidity pools to fix the ratios. But PULSECHAIN could launch somewhere above or around, depending on what is deemed to be the right price at launch. But we're going to go with the sacrifice rate, which is right. Basically, the sacrifice rate is 0.0001 of a dollar. So 1/10 of a tenth of a penny. So as it sits, without any movement in price, its market cap would be not 13.3 million, sorry, it's 13.3 billion market cap. So if we compare previous performance of ETH to what PULSECHAIN might do, we could probably use around a 14,000x in price increase, because that is around what Ethereum did from its bottom to its all-time high. But for this, we're going to be conservative, and we're only going to use 10,000x for gains in, let's say, 7 years to be super conservative as well. So check this out. At this point, PULSECHAIN's market cap will be 133 trillion. $133 trillion. It's just ridiculous. That is more money than the total debt of the USA by 4.43 times. 4.43x. It's just impossible. Market cap's a ridiculous metric. There's no way that that amount of value is going to be actually put into, is going to be actually held in PULSECHAIN. There's no way. You know, it's going to keep coming down, keep coming down, keep coming down if people were to sell. So I believe at this point, many people who are non-believers in Richard Heart's products and projects will make a switch when this actually starts to come out and people start to see the ridiculousness of market cap. And just for record too, a 10,000x from that price would leave PULSECHAIN at $1. That's how it's easy to get that if you want to do the math in your head. 133 trillion coin supply times $1, 133 trillion market cap. So this is when I believe people who are non-believers in the Richard Heart ecosystems and projects and products are going to make a switch, because a lot of people are going to be like, what the hell? This is dumb. It doesn't even make sense. There's no way there's $133 trillion in market cap in this entire thing. So this is the same reason I believe that all of the drama around Hex's market cap comes from generally like this inability to figure out how its market cap is, or just like, or denial in the fact that its market cap is so big. Among other reasons, like there's the court case, which definitely has not been figured out yet. And there's a lot of stuff going on there, but generally speaking, it is just the market cap. So this is going to cause many to reevaluate the metrics, I believe at least. This is going to cause many people to reevaluate the metrics that have been used to evaluate coins, as well as reassess the sources of their information and who are really trusted sources. So when market cap is debunked by not only PLS, but also by PLSX or PulseX, since it's also going to have north of $1 trillion supply, I think it's around 12 trillion actually. So when, if and when that hits $1, that's also going to be over $1 trillion supply, right? Or like it'll be around 12 trillion market cap, you know? So I believe many people at this point are going to be shaking to their core that they've been lied to, because they're going to see this opportunity that passed them by because people lied to them, and they're going to be pissed. I would be. So I think at this point, the market cap idea is going to be shaken a little bit, and people, or a lot, and people are going to not believe it so much, and they're going to distrust the sources they have been trusting, and they're going to see how corrupt the crypto influencers, the news sources, exchanges, and ranking sites were in funneling traffic into what made them the most money and not what made the investors the most money. Which, if I was that person, I'd be, like I said, I'd be pissed. So by this time, and again, this is all theoretical. I don't have timeframes for this, but I'm just assuming if we get to a 1 trillion supply, and if the Binance versus Hex class action suit is hopefully done, the truth about the manipulation of the cryptosphere will come out. And it's going to, it will cause the truth about the manipulation of the cryptosphere for its own benefits just to come forward from Binance and all its affiliates and CoinMarketCap. And there's so much behind in that can of worms. It's crazy. So at this point, people are going to be shaken, and they're not going to trust the sources of information they got, especially from like influencers and people that were getting paid specifically to shill certain coins that were dangerous potentially for people's financial situation. This could mean, though, we could see a massive increase in adoption at this point into PulseChain, PulseX, and Hex, as well as other products, depending on what else Richard Hart comes out with, whatever great products are built on top of these projects or products. As people start to understand the game that they've been sucked into and lied to about and used for, essentially. Content creators, social media personalities, and founders of established products on PulseChain will become more of a trusted source for information than ever before. This is what I foresee, because when everyone else that's been lying to them finally gets actually put in the spotlight and everyone realizes how shitty they were, the people who haven't been lying and have been the most honest people in crypto and have been telling the truth from the beginning and trying to save people and trying to make people not get wrecked, these are the people that people are going to trust or go to eventually. And it might not be a complete open field of like everyone can just go and see. There might be some censorship going on still, but people are going to migrate. It will happen. Like once people find out how much they've been lied to, there's no way they're staying with those people as their trusted news source. Look at CNN, for example. The more it came out that CNN was lying and making things up and sharing propaganda, or any of the major news networks, the mainstream news, you see things like Joe Rogan start to pop off. You see Andy Frisella's podcast where he talks about current events popping off. And even Joe Rogan has I think it's more than all the viewers combined on a daily basis of all the mainstream media outlets. Like, it's crazy. So I think this trend that we see with mainstream media is going to trend over to crypto as well, or has the potential to. And if that happens, this could send the price beyond anything we've ever seen. But there's a caveat. There's a problem with this thought. So the CBDC, with the digital ID and CBDC seemingly imminent, which if you don't know what a CBDC is, it is a central bank digital currency. Essentially, in a nutshell, the central bank, the banks that print the money and cause debt all throughout the world, will be creating a central bank digital currency, something like a cryptocurrency, but it will be issued by the central bank and controlled by them, which is, so basically with that and the digital ID, which is an extension of the vaccine passport, and actually I'm going to edit that out, which is an extension of a certain thing going around right now that you have to use to go into restaurants or anywhere, flying, whatever. Ukraine has actually begun implementing a digital ID system that extends on that to just daily life with your driver's license, with other forms of your ID looking to be implemented into it, which to my knowledge is the first one to be initialized in the globe that I've seen so far. And I could be wrong in saying that, but I have not heard of another place that has actually implemented it. So many who would love to participate in the PulseChain ecosystem because of the digital ID and CBDC may be trapped by it. They may, once they get in, depending on how it is implemented, they may not be able to get out of it. They may be trapped by it. This could make it extraordinarily difficult for a large majority of the population to hop on board, even if they know about it. It just might be out of reach. So if this scenario plays out, Some will be able to make it on board before it's too difficult, but the amount of adoption will drastically be reduced. So this really depends on how things works out, but we got to look at the situation. We're going to be hopeful, but also aware that this is happening, and this could actually negatively affect price a little bit, depending on how many people are stopped from getting on board or inhibit the amount of growth it could have. So this could create a set of people who are outside the bounds of the CBDC and able to create change, though, with extraordinary wealth, but it will leave some far behind. Like, it's going to separate people. There could be two tiers. There could be people that are locked in the system and people that are outside the system and kind of like nomads or almost rogue, if you will, as far as maybe what the government's concerned, or whoever's controlling the system or wherever the system is. So with that, though, this leads me to my last point on how PulseChain could redefine crypto. Those of us who are fortunate enough to be here this early, we might see extraordinary wealth at some point, depending on how things play out. If we do, there is a very likely scenario that the world will need people to step up and fight for change. If things keep going the way they're going geopolitically and politically, we're going to need it. There's not going to be many voices that can step up and say something, or have the power to, or have the money to. And there's not very many voices that may be left that actually can connect with one another and speak out together. So PulseChain and its ecosystem's fruit could redefine the amount of power that crypto carries at this point, if it ever were to get to something like this. The amount of power that money has on a day-to-day basis. If you have a lot of wealth, you have power, you have more of a voice, you can do so much with it if you use it wisely. So I believe it is our responsibility to stand up when we have the ability to, and prevent overstep by governments if it ever happens, and if this extraordinary wealth or just wealth in general comes to a large portion of the people that are in this ecosystem. So for those of us that are in crypto, many are not only in for the gains, but for the self-custody and even self-sovereignty it brings, aka the freedom. I believe it's our duty to uphold the very premise of the technology that can allow us to maintain our freedom in this scenario. Blockchain is censorship proof. So we have to become censorship proof, and we have to be vessels for the premise of the technology that is giving us the lives that we might get at this point. And if we don't, and we're put in a situation where we have to use it and we don't, or we can use it to make change and we don't, we'll fail everyone else that couldn't. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I know this was a little deeper, a little bit different than I've normally done, but I wanted to just go the extra mile and portray the future in a way that what could happen with the current events that are happening. And I'm not saying this is going to happen for sure. I really do hope that a lot of the negativities that I painted that could happen never do, and that any theoretical situations that I've painted are wrong and false, and they never play out, and we never have to go to a way of living that I've talked about, as far as stepping up and having to play a role that's much bigger than just you or me as an individual. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, or if you have contrary beliefs or opinions on this, or anything you want to add to it, I would love to know in the comments what you thought. So please like the video, subscribe if you haven't already. I'll be doing a lot more content that is similar to this, as well as if you've already seen my last videos focused on PulseChain, PulseX, Hex, and the ecosystem, as well as all the fruit that the ecosystem will bear as it all comes out, as well as strategies. So thank you guys, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.